Good night, y'all. We're starting that live Q&A coming up here very shortly. Again, live Q&A starting shortly. Just getting a few things in order here. So bear with me for a second. We'll get rolling. Remember, comment your questions. Let me know where you're watching from. Thumbs up if you enjoy these live streams. Got lots of cool information coming tonight. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it. So bear with me one second as we get rolling here. Hopefully you guys have some good questions prepared. We're going to talk about some fishing reports. We're going to talk about what's been going on at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking about the bite. We're going to be talking about whatever you want to talk about. Comment your questions and we'll definitely get to whatever we can in our hour or so that we're here live. Again, we're live on Facebook and on our Hubbard's Marina YouTube page, so you could always watch us on YouTube as well if you'd like. Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday. Just a few more minutes here, guys. We'll get rolling. Start thinking of your questions, y'all. Comment questions, thumbs up if you enjoy the videos. Click like and share to help me spread the word here, folks. We're going to get rolling in a minute.
Okay, so you called. I was in the shower, sorry.
Everything's good. We're live right now. We're going to get rolling here in just a minute, just sharing a few videos, and then we'll get started. Thanks, Emily. My wife's so helpful. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, we're going to be talking here in just a minute. I appreciate you bearing with me as I get all this stuff set up. Please share the video to your timeline or share it to a group for me. Help me spread the word here. Now, guys, we did order some new equipment to fix our video choppiness issues, but unfortunately it hasn't come in yet. So tonight the video might be a little choppy, but the audio has been flawless as of late, and I'm hoping and praying that remains the same this week. And next weekend we will have that new equipment, and it's going to run much smoother. Oh yeah. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Good night. How y'all doing? Let me make sure we have everything set up here. Yep, looks like we're rolling. Cameras on, microphones on. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this beautiful Sunday, and you got some good questions ready for us, because we are going to get started here. Again, I apologize if the video quality is not up to par, but our audio quality has been good, and we are fixing the video problem this week. This is Sunday, July 15th. We're getting started a little bit late here, guys, unfortunately, but we shall fix that problem, and we'll run a little bit later like we have been. So doesn't seem... You guys seeing a picture at all? I'm not seeing a picture. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment and let us know what questions you have. Huh. Alright, so we'll get rolling here with some questions. I don't see a video feed, so let me know if anybody sees me on video and I'm just not seeing it on my side. The problems have persisted on the video side of things, unfortunately. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks Dusty from Ohio. Leanne, hey, how are you? Bruce, thanks for tuning in. Manuel, always good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in this morning to the Flats Mafia radio show. Manuel, I saw you on there this morning. Kyle Hopwood said, or Hopwood, excuse me, said, my family and I had a great half-day morning trip last week while vacationing from Ohio. Seabiscuit and Dusty did a great job helping out everybody on the ship. Great conversations with the guys, too. What trip would you recommend next doing with you guys? Don't think we can get away with the 39-hour. I would probably say maybe do a 10-hour to start and then step up to maybe some of the 12 hours or some of the longer trips. The longer the trip, the better chances you're going to have of getting some of that, those bigger fish, those bigger grouper, etc. The 5 hours kind of our beginning trip for beginning anglers, and then our 10-hour trip's the next level up where you get your first shot at catching a keeper-sized grouper. So your 10 hours like the half day, but you go twice as far for twice as long. And then you have your 12-hour extreme, which is an awesome trip. I would highly recommend a 12-hour extreme trip. Just because the 12-hour extreme is going to enable you to get out 70 to 100 miles and fish the same area as a 39-hour trip, but you're home by dinner and you're not going to miss the whole night with your kids. You're not going to be gone for 39 hours. So a 12-hour extreme is a great option while you're on vacation with the family and you don't have a lot of time. Jamie Andrews said, any reports of hogfish on the 10-hour trips lately? Well, Jamie, because of red snapper season, we aren't running 10-hour trips. We have a 12-hour party boat trip. So basically all our 10 hours get canceled and they get turned into 12-hour party boat trips. So because of that, we don't have any 10-hour trips. So no reports from a 10-hour, unfortunately. But 10 hours do start back up. On the 22nd of July is our first 10-hour on the backside of red snapper season. And we have been seeing a lot of hogfish. The hub has been catching a lot of hogfish on its private charters. Our 5-hour half day on the party boat's been seeing a good amount of hogfish lately. They're not as thick and aggressive as they are in the spring, but we catch great hogfish through the whole summer. So definitely a great time to get out there and enjoy some nearshore fishing. The hogfish are biting well. Of course, you got the gray snapper or white grunts biting well, porgy, sea bass. Catching a few lane snapper as well, some cobia around near shore. So it's a great time to get out there and enjoy it. The red grouper bites finally starting to pick up. Mangrove snapper are getting back to normal. So the fishing is really good right now near shore and offshore. Offshore, we're seeing a lot of wahoo showing up, catching wahoo on the trolling, occasionally seeing wahoo on the flat lines, but most of the time we're catching wahoo while trolling those big trolling plugs like those Shimano Bonita or the big trolling skirts. Kevco8201 on YouTube, thanks for the comment. We are going to lag a little bit. The video quality is unfortunately a little limited due to my laptop, but I'm building a computer this week that's going to fix that problem. So tune in next week and in the future, and we won't have any video lagging. So thank you for tuning in on YouTube, guys, and all of you on Facebook as well. Always good to see some people join us for this video. Ryan May said half day was good this morning, tossed back a lot and still brought back about 30 fish myself. That's pretty cool, Ryan. Thanks for joining us tonight after you joined us this morning while fishing. That's pretty nice of you. I'm glad you enjoyed your day out in the boat. That half day trip's a lot of fun. It is a beginning angler's trip. We don't catch a lot of big fish, but I enjoy getting out on a half day, drinking some beer and catching some great eating fish on light tackle. It's always a good time. And then taking them back to the restaurant and getting them cooked up at the Friendly. Those gray snapper or white grunts or Key West grunts, Cajun fried at the Friendly Fisherman, that makes it all worth it. And those fish on light tackles, a lot of fun. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Bruce Rosen said, what do we need to fish amberjack? Well, you need to eat your Wheaties, Bruce. Those amberjack, they don't play, and we catch some fairly nice amberjack, especially in the fall. Amberjack reopened August 1st, and they'll be open until the end of October. So August, September, and October, we're going to have amberjack open. I personally like using a big 9/0 reel with around 80-pound braid backing, maybe even an 80-pound top shot or a 100-pound top shot, and then typically around 80 to 100-pound leader, about a 10 to 12-aught circle hook, and a really big live bait. If you have the room, if you don't have a lot of people around you, I like using a big long leader, like a 8 to 10, maybe even 12-foot leader, and a heavier weight. That heavier weight allows you to get that big live bait to bottom without it moving around too much, and that long leader gets that big live bait away from that big lead. That's how I like to live bait fish amberjack when I have plenty of room. Or you can jig for amberjack using a light jigging rod and something like a Shimano Talica or a Daiwa Saltiga or some of the Accurate ATDs. A really nice light reel that allows you to jig easily and gives you plenty of stamina to jig, but something that has enough drag capacity and enough power to handle some of those big amberjack. I went to ICAST this past week and had the pleasure of spending a lot of time in the Daiwa booth talking to them about that Daiwa Saltiga. And luckily Daiwa is in love with the Daiwa Saltiga 2-speed as much as I am. And they have some really cool stuff coming out in 2019. So I'm very pumped up to go to ICAST next year to see what's new from Daiwa. They promised some big things in that Daiwa Saltiga 2-speed line. What I think I got out of them, what I'm hoping for is a larger Daiwa Saltiga, because right now they only have a 50 LD, so it's rated up to about 40-45 pounds of drag. I'm hoping for like a 60 with 50 to 55 pounds of drag, maybe even a 70 with 60 to 65 pounds of drag. That would compete with the high-end, the higher level Shimano Talicas and the Accurate ATDs, and it would allow me to stay with that Daiwa Saltiga that I love so much. Such a nice reel. It's all machine aluminum, or all machine metal, so it's the frame's all machined in one piece. The gears are harder, there's better bearings in it, it's a free floating spool. It's such a nice reel. So, alright, hopefully that answers your question there, Bruce. I got off on a tangent. I'm ready to catch some amberjack though. I love smoked fish bread, and my wife's brother is a genius on the grill and the smoker, and he just got a new smoker, so I'm ready to catch him some amberjack and get some of that smoked fish and fresh smoked fish bread. Ken Mercer said, do you prefer down scan to read bottom or traditional 2D sonar? Ken Mercer, I have never personally ran a boat with down scan for an extended period of time. I've always been a 2D sonar kind of guy. I mean, when I first started working on a charter boat, we still had the paper machines. And I'm not that old. I'm only 27 years old. It's just we are really slow to change with the times. So my father used a paper bottom machine in a GP32 Loran for many, many years while everybody else was switching over to GPS and switching over to the digital bottom machines. So I'm not one to jump on some new technology. Change is hard, change is difficult, and I have a lot of success and I enjoy messing around with that 2D sonar. So we use Furuno machines and we use really high powered transducers, and we have a lot of success. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But those down scans and side scans, they're pretty cool. I definitely agree with you. If you guys are just tuning in, remember to comment your questions below in the video. Please like and share this video to help me spread the word. And we do these every Sunday night from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Real quick programming note, not tomorrow, but the next day, Tuesday night, at 7 o'clock at GT Marine in the Clearwater area, just north of the Bayside Bridge. Again, GT Marine. I will be doing an in-person fishing seminar with Flats Mafia, and GT Marine is going to be giving away 3 motors and $15,000 in prizes. There's going to be free food, free beer. You could win 3 different motors. You could win a ton of prizes. And again, that's this coming Tuesday night. So July 17th at 7 p.m. at GT Marine. I hope to see you there. So let's keep rolling here. Ron Moore said, did you catch that kid that shot the snook on my dock? Well, those kids who were shooting the snook were not on our dock. That was actually at Don's dock down the way. Uh-oh. Huh. Well, speaking of the kids who were shooting snook on the dock, the sheriff was texting me there, so I'm sorry I got sidetracked here. I should probably text him back and see what he wants. It sounds like he called me. I'm doing a live video, man. Hopefully it's not important. We did not catch the kid who were shooting, the kid and his buddy who were shooting the snook, Ron. They were, for those of you who don't know, they were caught bow fishing for snook. They were trespassing on Don's dock, which is the dock at the east end of the boardwalk on our side of the pass. And they were trespassing. They were harvesting fish illegally because it's illegal to bow fish snook. They were shooting fish that were undersized and oversized, and it was out of season, and they didn't even take the fish. They left them there. So multiple different violations. We have photos of their face, photos of their truck. We posted it to the Hubbard's Marina page and to my personal page as well. And I'm hoping to get a copy of the video soon to post as well, Ron. So hopefully we will see some justice for those kids who were bow fishing snook in John's Pass. Crazy that they would do that, especially in John's Pass, especially in front of cameras. But anywhere you do that, it's just unacceptable. Leanne Young Rose said, we'll be down next weekend. Is the green algae bad? Heard the water was bad with it right now. The water quality is very poor in the Okeechobee area and on the either side of the state at the Okeechobee outflows. But knock on something hard, luckily north of Tampa Bay, we've been very blessed with still really nice quality water for now. But we definitely got to do something about that Okeechobee problem, or that green algae will spread. But for now, that is totally a South Florida, or I guess, I don't know how you would classify that, but you have Lake Okeechobee in the state, and there's canals that run out of either side of Okeechobee to the east and west coast of Florida, and at the mouth of either of those canals is where you're seeing the green slime on the news. It is in no way around Tampa Bay, and hopefully it never gets here, because hopefully we're going to fix this problem down in the Everglades and Okeechobee area, and we won't get the... Sheriff Deputy Bruce was messing with me. He knew I was live, so he's trying to call me to mess me up. So shout out to Sheriff Deputy in Madeira Beach. Still looking for that video, and we'll share it around and hopefully catch those kids who were snook fishing. So if you do have a copy of the video out there, I heard some people in Madeira Beach might be able to get me a copy of it, and I'd love to share that video of those kids bow fishing that snook and hopefully help get them caught. Let's see what other questions we have. Bruce Johnson hit me with, what do you think about opening Jewfish? Great question, Bruce. I would love to open a season on Jewfish. In my opinion, the Jewfish have made an extreme comeback, and they're starting to become a nuisance. They have affected our stone crab industry. Our stone crab the last 2 or 3 years have been severely decimated. Really poor stone crab season, some of the worst we've seen in many years. And one of the council members on the Gulf Council lives in Marco Island. His name's Phil Dieskau. He was the president of Yamaha Motors, and I talked to him a great deal. And in Marco Island, there's a huge stone crab industry, and there's also a huge population of Goliath grouper. And he says he catches Goliaths that spit up like dozens of stone crab. And offshore, we catch Goliath grouper that we crank up, and they spit up dozens of Florida spiny lobster. We've been on spots where Goliath grouper are eating red snapper, they're eating grouper. We had a permit to capture Goliath grouper, bring them on the boat, and study their stomach contents for about 2 years. So we were allowed to actually bring those Goliaths onto the boat, out of the water. We had to run water through their gills. We had to do fin ray samples, DNA samples. We were a part of a research project. And through that research project, I saw firsthand what these fish had in their stomach. And it was anything from crustaceans to lobster to small fish, whether it was red snapper, grouper, gag grouper, a mixture of fish. And they don't get to be 800 pounds by eating a few fish a day. These Goliath grouper are eating a ton of our reef species and a ton of our crustaceans out there. And it can't be good. And they can't even do a stock assessment on these big, huge vacuums of fish because they can't kill them for science. So if FWC and Florida Wildlife Research Institute, or FWRI, can't do research on this fishery, how do we know if they've come back, if they're healthy, if they're overpopulated or underpopulated? We have to do stock assessments. The only way to get an accurate stock assessment is by killing fish. So no matter if you want to be ultra conservationist, you still have to allow scientists to kill fish to do accurate studies and accurate stock assessments. So I think the first step, Bruce, is opening a limited access Jewfish or Goliath grouper fishery to allow scientists to access those fish and collect otoliths, to do stomach samples, DNA samples, and to just all around inquire about these fish that we haven't been harvesting for many years. And once we get a good baseline for that stock, then we can go from there. Well, hey, they still need protecting, we're not opening a season. Or hey, there's a lot more out there than we thought, let's open a season. So that is my question, or that is my thoughts on Goliath grouper or Jewfish. We need to tomorrow open a limited access season to allow scientists and anglers alike access to these fish. Now it could be very limited. Something like the state of Florida does these alligator tags, where there's only 300 or 400 alligator tags for a certain area, and then you have to enter your name, and it's a lottery. If you get picked, you don't get picked, and if you get picked, you'll get a tag, and then you're able to bring back a Goliath grouper tagged, but it should be mandatory if you're able to take a tag that you have to donate the carcass to the FWC. I mean, look at our billfish. If you catch a sailfish or you catch a bluefin tuna in the Gulf of Mexico, it's mandatory that you call and report that fish within 24 hours. A lot of people don't realize that. So it could be the same way for Goliath. Yeah, you kill a Goliath, but it's mandatory within 24 hours that you report that kill and you hand over the carcass to science to get studied up on. So that's a great way for the scientists to get otoliths, to get DNA, to test stomach samples, all while still allowing anglers a limited access fishery. And that could give us a great start to an accurate stock assessment and hopefully opening up a more widely accessible fishery. But don't get me started on fishing regulations, Bruce. I'm having a good day. Let's see what other questions we have here. Rick Schumann said, what would I have to do to keep fish alive if I was going on the half day before the 12-hour extreme? You would have to have a large bait pen, which you could hang off our dock, or if you asked really nicely and it wasn't red snapper season, we actually do have 3 live bait pens, and as long as it's not super busy, one of those live bait pens is always not being used, so we could let you borrow that, or you could use a big large live bait pen and hang it off the dock, which a lot of guys do when they're catching bait 2 or 3 days ahead of their trip. But the whole half day before a trip thing works really well for a 39-hour trip. You can come out, let's say you're doing a Tuesday 39 hours. So you leave Tuesday at 3 p.m., you come back Thursday morning at 6 a.m. You could show up Thursday morning at 7 a.m., get on the half day trip, fish through the morning with the half day guys, and any pigfish, any squirrel fish, any blue runners, any big select live baits that are able legally to be used for bait, we could put in our live wells for you, and then when the boat gets back, we could transfer that over to your 39-hour live well, and now all of a sudden you have a live well full of big, huge, select, fresh caught bait. So that's a great way to catch big baits before a long range trip. I've never seen anybody do that before a 12-hour extreme, Rick Schumann, so you'd be the first, but a lot of guys do that for a 39-hour trip. So great idea, Rick. Russ Persad said, just hoping to get my first red snapper this Tuesday on the 39-hour. Top shots have been added along with the 2-speed reel only with mono. As long as you're fishing top shots, you're more than welcome to use braid, but mono works great. I've fished mono plenty of times, especially on my larger reels, but I love my Daiwa Saltiga with a large amount of braid backing and then a nice monofilament or fluorocarbon top shot, and the length of that depends on what I'm targeting and what depth I'm targeting, but I love that Bass Pro Shops offshore angler fluorocarbon, and I use quite a bit of it as a good top shot on top of that braid in my Daiwa Saltiga LD 52 speed, and it works really well. Oh, big news from iCast I forgot to share. Speaking of these Daiwa reels, so I've been talking about these 2-speed reels that I love quite a bit, and I've been talking about some of the snapper reels that I like quite a bit. So I went to Daiwa and I got a bunch of these reels. So we're going to have like 20, 30 of these reels on hand. So we're going to have a bunch of different kinds of reels in the shop for you when you come in. If you want to purchase a reel from us or you want to see what reels I've been talking about, you can stop by the shop. And I've been using a Hubbard's Marina custom rod called a Killer Sticks rod that my father and I developed a few years back. Unfortunately, our supply of these rods have run really low, and they weren't, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, they were you don't have to spend a lot of money for them. They were $120. but also on the flip side, the quality wasn't the highest. So I've been talking to the guys from Bull Bay Rods. That's a local Lakeland, East Tampa based company, and Bull Bay Rods are going to design a full line of Hubbard's Marina Bull Bay rods. So we're going to have a custom hogfish killer. We're going to have a custom mangrove snapper slapper. We're going to have a custom Bull Bay rods grouper stick. We're going to make a flat lining Bull Bay rod. We're gonna make some really cool stuff with Bull Bay rods. We're gonna have a kind of medium range, $120 to $180 model, and then my ultimate goal is to also have that $250 to $300 model as well. So you'll have multiple options. You can get the Daiwa Saltist, or you can get the Daiwa Saltiga. You can get the medium range Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rod, or you can get the high end Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rod. So I'm very excited. Made some really cool deals at ICAST, and we got new lures. I spent a lot of time. Very cool story. Tyler McLaughlin from Pinwheel. That's the Wicked Tuna Pinwheel. I'm just in this lure booth, and I just spent quite a bit of money buying a bunch of these lures because I've heard a lot about these lures. They're called Fathom offshore lures. They got brought into Bass Pro Shops, and I called my buddy Terry Robinson at Offshore Angler and talked to him about them. And it's just a great product, and I purchased a bunch of them. And then Tyler McLaughlin from the Pinwheel walks up behind me and says, "Those are great lures." And I turned around and I was like, "You're Tyler." Got a photo with him and everything. It was pretty cool. So needless to say, we got new reels, new rods, new lures. We got a bunch of new cool stuff at ICAST just for you guys. So definitely stop by the shop soon, and we're going to have some really, really cool stuff for you guys. Let's see here. Nick Maddox said, greenbacks, best bait to use fishing off the beach. Your opinion? I really like using large select shrimp and off the beach, or medium select shrimp off the beach, just because it gives you a wide variety of stuff to target. But yeah, greenbacks work really, really well on the beach, especially for some of those snook and some of those redfish and trout. But the shrimp are going to give you a chance to also catch some pompano and catch some whiting as well. So a shrimp would be your better all-around bait, but a greenback's going to give you more targeted of species. Let's see here. Joe said, do you have any discount codes from any of your sponsors from ICAST? I don't have necessarily sponsors like that, Joe. We just we're family owned and operated. We're not. I'm not a tournament fisherman, so I don't have people giving me free stuff, and I don't have discount codes. And honestly, I don't really ask for it. But some really, really cool companies like Angle Coolers, Cleanse Oil, Bull Bay Rods. These are Aquatic Nutrition Sport Fishing Chums. These are companies that I personally use, and I personally fish, and I personally use their products, and I believe in their products. And those are companies that I hung around, I bought product from, and eventually built that relationship. But it's not something in which I get a bunch of free stuff from. It's not something in which I'm hunting for great deals or giving away great deals. It's just products that I really believe in. And I talk a lot about Daiwa, but believe it or not, Daiwa has not, I have not approached Daiwa, and Daiwa has not approached me. So I just talk about the products I like. And if someone wants to thank me for that, I'll take it. Spend enough money on fishing tackle. So sorry, Joe, no discount codes to answer your question. Let's see if we have any other questions here. I like how some of these guys are responding to their each other. So I've got guys watching the video who are answering each other's comments. It's pretty cool. So it's great to see you guys are enjoying the video. Brad Dreyer is on the video. What's up, Brad? Good to see you. Brad is from Yamaha Motors. Yamaha did a big presentation at ICAST about fishing conservation and how we can all work together and use things like social media to bring attention to important issues in our fishery and help improve recreational fishing access. So it's awesome to see companies like Yamaha, Engel Coolers, Yeti Coolers, AFCO, Shimano, all getting together and making sure that everybody, all recreational anglers, have great access to the fishery. So big shout out to Brad. Thanks for that awesome social media summit on how we can all improve our recreational fishing access. Russ Persad said, should I bring my own toilet paper for the 39 hour? Well, Russ, you don't need it. You're more than welcome to, but we do provide toilet paper. Oh, that is funny. I have to say, that's a first for me. Kendall Jones said, went out with Captain Joe on the Flying Hub 1 yesterday. Great guys, put us on the fish. Thanks, Kendall, for privately chartering the Flying Hub 1 with us at Hubbard's Marina. I hope you enjoyed. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed your private charter. It's definitely a great way to get out there and get some one-on-one help and one-on-one time with our captains and crew. And Captain Joe is an awesome guy. I can't say it enough. We're super blessed at Hubbard's Marina to just have an amazing team, from our office staff to our fish cutters, to our captains, to our crew members, to the maintenance guy, Captain Chris Stoltz. Everybody is just an awesome team member. Everybody works really hard together. This red snapper season has been excruciating for all of us, and I've been out of town a lot. And I've been blessed to be out of town because I couldn't go do things like ICAST. I couldn't go attend every National Marine Fisheries meeting. I couldn't go do the things that I do without the team that I have. So I'm very blessed to have an awesome team. I'm very blessed to have even better fishing friends and guests like you. So thank you guys. I love you guys. All right, back to the fishing stuff. Let's see. Jorge Moncada said, is there a peak season for grouper fishing, and which trip would you recommend? I say it all the time, all these live videos, the best months for gag grouper fishing end in ER. So September, October, November, December, with October, November, or really November being my favorite month for gags overall, especially around Thanksgiving. But the first 2 weeks of October are great because the heat has stopped, the cold fronts haven't started. So the first 2 weeks of October are awesome. November and December are really good for gag grouper fishing, but you have to worry about those cold fronts, which a lot of times get your trips canceled. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when people get upset about weather canceling trips, or they get upset, oh, the fishing was terrible, it was too rough out there. Well, we're all big boys and girls. We have weather links in your confirmation email and on our website for a reason. And we send out emails to tell you what the weather's doing before your trip. And we have the weather report on the counter before you leave. And if I take the time to send you an email and to print out the weather report on the counter and take the time to talk about it in the pre-boarding seminar, so I gave you like 4 warnings before the trip, it's a good idea that it's probably going to be a little bit adverse or bumpy out there. So when it comes to fall fishing, the fishing is awesome for the gag grouper and amberjack and a lot of other species like the tuna, but you have to contend with that weather. And that cold front, the fishing is great up until that cold front. Then the weather gets nasty. We have to cancel trips. And then a couple days behind the front, we're able to start going fishing, but the fishing's kind of crappy until that weather kind of calms down. Everything gets back to homeostasis, or everything's back to normal. And then the fishing picks up, and then we get another cold front. So during the fall, you really have to time your trips about the weather. And just watch your emails. We do it for you. We'll send you emails. We'll tell you what the weather's doing. We'll have the weather on the counter for you. We'll do a seminar before you leave to tell you more about it. So we work really hard to communicate, be upfront and honest, and be transparent. and take advantage of the tools that we provide to you through our website and through our confirmation emails. And the best trip, I would say, would be some of our specialty trips. The 12-hour extreme, the 39-hour trip, the 44-hour trip. The 63-hour deep drop pelagic trip is an awesome trip if you want to get huge grouper that most people have never even heard about or caught before. And then also always the private charters. You can get a customized private charter depending on how many people you want, where you want to go, what kind of boat you want. We can customize a private charter to you and your group and what you want to catch. So definitely a specialty trip or a private charter is the #1 way to go to get a lot of, or to get big quality trophy size grouper, especially if you want if you want a lot of them. Bruce Rosen said, why do so many of the large spinning reels have anti-reverse? Well, every reel has anti-reverse, Bruce. I think what you're talking about is that little lever that allows you to reel backwards and pull out line. It's called a trolling switch a lot of times, or I've heard it called a few different things. Personally, I don't use spinning reels that much, and that's another reason why I hate them. But spinning reels are great inshore. Spinning reels are great for jigging. Spinning reels are great for topwater tuna fishing. Spinning reels are great inshore. Spinning reels are great for hogfish or when the bite's super slow for a light knocker rig. But for bottom fish, catching grouper, snapper, amberjack on the bottom in deep water, put away the spinning reels. We have a video. I don't know if I can get away with this. I think my computer's too laggy, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Let me pull it up here. When we get our new computer next week we'll be able to do this a lot easier. Yeah, it's already not even pulling it up hardly. Spinning reels. All right, instead of trying to do this and making the video even more laggy than it already is, just pull up YouTube on another tab and search spinning reels versus or vs conventional reels Hubbard's Marina, and you can watch that video after the live. Don't leave the live stream. Whatever you do, don't leave the live stream. But after the video's over, definitely check out that spinning reel versus conventional reel video, and that'll explain why I have a distaste for spinning reels for bottom fishing. But we got a bunch of YouTube comments. I'm going to switch off of Facebook and answer some of these YouTube comments. Michael Murray said, any light loads on the 39-hour trip in the near future? How are the loads looking for AJs in August? Michael, we have a ton of light loads coming up on the 39-hour trips. Really, the only time of year that we have sold out or more full 39-hour trips is the very short red snapper season. Outside of red snapper season, our 39-hour trips average between 35 to about maybe 60% capacity, if that. So anywhere from about 25 to about 35, maybe 38, 40 people around a holiday on our 39-hour trips. So come the end of July, the numbers on the 39-hour are just going to plummet. And come August, September, we'll have some really light loads. And then the October, we get a little... No, wait. Yeah, October. I'm going to have to look at my calendar. Come on the backside of dry dock. So yeah, October is we have like 1 or 2 busy 39-hour trips because every year we have to pull one of these big boats out of the water and spend a lot of time and money and energy fixing these boats up to keep them looking good and running well and doing whatever we can preventative maintenance wise to make these boats run efficiently and run often and don't have any problems, which is nearly impossible, but we have a great crew like I talked about before. So around Labor Day, the first week of October or first week of September, we're going to take the Florida fishermen out of the water, and it'll be out of the water for about 6 to 8 weeks. and that's when we're going to do paint jobs and get Coast Guard inspection, get a lot of new stuff for the boat. And on the back side of that dry dock, when that boat first goes in the water, that 39 hour on the back side of dry dock is busy just because we haven't had one for a few weeks or 6 weeks. And people get a little antsy. But for the most part, we have super light loads on the 39-hour trips, and you can always look online and see what trips are available, and you can kind of gauge how many people are on a trip by seeing how many spots are available. If one trip has 40 spots available, that means there's only 10 people on the boat, etc. And when I'm not on a live video, I'd be more than happy to look for you, Michael, as well, if you wanted to message us on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. Let's see what other questions we have on YouTube. Nate Haney said, I'm bummed we can't go on the 5-hour half-day trip this year, but they're going to E.G. Simmons Fish Camp tomorrow. E.G. Simmons is a great place to fish, Nate, from what I hear, especially from a kayak, if you can get away from if you can get away from everybody else. So definitely look around for those trout along the mangroves in E.G. Simmons Park. Kevco8201 asked on YouTube, is there ever a time to set the hook when fishing with circle hooks, or do you only start cranking when you get a bite? Whenever you're offshore fishing, whenever you're deep sea fishing, whenever you're fishing past 30, 40 foot of water, you never yank up to set the hook. No matter how high and hard you jerk up on that rod, you're not moving your hook very much, especially when you're fishing anywhere past 60, 70, 80 foot of water. You can jerk I'm 6'7". I'm very tall, and I can lower that rod tip to the water and yoke it above my head, and that huge range of motion is still not going to move my hook in 100 foot of water. Whereas one turn of that handle on my Daiwa Saltiga is going to move that hook 6 feet. So if I crank really fast 5 to 10 times, I'm going to move that hook almost 50, 60 feet. I'm going to get a lot of stretch out of that line, and I'm going to hook that fish effectively. So when you're fishing with J hooks or you're fishing with circle hooks, you never set the hook by jerking up on the rod. You set the hook by crank. Crank, don't yank, don't be a jerk reel, turn the handle randle, whatever you got to remember to help you remember that. Don't be a jerk reel. That's always my thing, is when you feel that bite, you just got to start cranking. Now, when you're using circle hooks, you typically, what I do is I'll slow it down. I'll crank down until I feel that pressure, and then I'll start reeling like a madman. But if you feel that bite and you start cranking real fast with the circle hook, you're going to pull it out of his mouth. With the J hooks, you can just go crazy because you want to set that hook. With the circle hooks, you want to reel until there's pressure, and then once I feel that fish on there, that's when I crank it down and set the hook. But circle hooks, you just got to slow it down a little bit, reel down until there's pressure, and then set the hook. And you set the hook by cranking, not yanking. So hopefully that answers your question there, Kevco. Ryan May said we could see the bottom in 25 foot of water on the half day this morning. So yes, definitely a lot of clarity out there right now, which is surprising. The beginning of June, we could see bottom in like 40, 45 foot of water. It's definitely got a little bit more murky out there, but there's still a lot of clarity. And Ryan May asked, at what point are you considered a regular? Well, you can be a regular fisherman with us at Hubbard's Marina by fishing a lot, but you could become an actual official Regulars Club member if you're fishing 10, 15, 20 times a year or more, and you join our Regulars Club. This late in the year, the Regulars Club, we're not really doing sign-ups, but you can email me at info at hubbardsmarina.com, and you can email me your name, your cell phone number, and I will put you on our list for our 2019 Regulars Club, and I can send you some information. Basically, it's a loyalty program, not a discount program. The more often you fish with us, so if you fish 10, 15, 20 times a year, the Regulars Club program will make it more affordable for you to be fishing 15, 20, 25 times a year. So you can do more fishing for the same amount of money as you were doing less trips before. So you do get a discount on the trip. You do get some free gifts and some other benefits as well. So if you're interested in the Regulars Club and you fish 10, 15, 20 times a year or more, you would qualify. Shoot me an email. Again, that's info, I-N-F-O, @hubbardsmarina.com. Evan Burnett said, what have the snook been biting at the dock? Well, a guy named Hayden Kukuza and his father, Bill, have been catching a lot of snook around the dock lately on carcasses, fish carcasses, from our half-day trips, those gray snappers. They've been catching a lot of those snook on those gray snapper carcasses. Funny story, they were actually fishing for snook the other day from the dock after a half-day fishing trip using the carcasses, and this guy went crazy on the boardwalk screaming that we were fishing for pelicans and how he's going to call the FWC and how we are a joke and we are murderous to our wildlife. Just totally went crazy. It was pretty entertaining, and the funny part is this is the second time that a guy walking down the boardwalk has assumed when he saw us hooking carcasses on a hook that we were fishing for pelicans. So pretty funny right there. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody fishing for pelicans. All right. Let's see here. All right, so last question I have here on Facebook or on YouTube is from Stephen Farmer. Says, sent you a message on Facebook. Would like a reply back, please. Stephen, unfortunately, I have about 25 voicemails that I haven't replied back to. I have emails from June like 7th that I haven't replied back to. I have about 30 Dylan Hubbard on my personal page messages I haven't replied back to. I do keep pretty up to date in replying back to messages to our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. So the best way to contact me is always catch me down at the dock, to give me a call in the office, and if I'm available, I answer it as quick as I can, or to message me through the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. Messaging me on my personal Facebook page is a terrible way to reach me. I hardly ever check my personal page, personal messages, because they just get totally flooded with spam. So Hubbard's Marina Facebook page or the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page is the best way to message me through Facebook. So let's get back to the Facebook questions here. Snapper Slapper. It's a good name for my rod, isn't it, Melinda Crosby? Yeah, it's the Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina Snapper Slapper Special. Say that 3 times fast. Stephen Hill asks, when is red snapper season over? Red snapper season ends July 22nd at 12:01 a.m. for federally permitted charter boats and party boats. For private recreational anglers, the red snapper season ends July 21st at 12:01 a.m. Again, those 12:01 a.m. dates. So if a season ends at July 22nd at 12:01 a.m., that means you have to have the fish on the dock by midnight on the 21st. So our last day for red snapper season at Hubbard's Marina, I gotta pull out my calendar, is this coming Saturday. So we have to have our fish on the dock by midnight Saturday in order to keep red snapper. So hopefully that answers your question. Eugene Mullen said, what do you use for live bait? Better question is, what don't I use for live bait? Eugene, I use a wide variety of bait. We use sand perch or golf perch, or what's commonly called a squirrel fish as live bait. It's a great gag grouper bait. Works well for red grouper, red snapper as well. We commonly use pinfish for red grouper, red snapper, mangrove snapper, gag grouper. Everything bites a pinfish. Pigfish work really well for snook. Work really well for the grouper, snapper, offshore. We use blue runners, we use cigar minnows, we use live sardines, we use live thread fins. We use a variety of bait. Whatever we can catch is what we use for live bait typically. There are a lot of baits or a lot of fish you can't use for bait. If it's a federally managed reef species with a size limit or bag limit, it's illegal to use for bait. But there's a ton of bait fish out there, and when you come on the trip with us, we'll show you what we use. We'll show you how to rig it. We do a seminar on the way offshore on our long range trips to show you exactly what we recommend and how to rig it. And you can come to Tightline Tuesday with Flats Mafia and GT Marine. That's 2 days from now, Tuesday, July 17th. I'll be giving a seminar in person. GT Marine and Flats Mafia will be giving away $15,000 in raffle prizes. Big Storm Brewing will be giving away beer. There'll be tons of food. So free food, free beer, free fishing tips from me, and $15,000 in raffle prizes. Free raffle. Come join us 2 days from now, Tuesday, July 17th at GT Marine. What other questions here? How do y'all rig live bait in 150 to 200 foot lane? Lane Jerfy said, I just finished a Salt Strong Grouper Mastery course. So if you're interested, you can check out Salt Strong and check out that Grouper Mastery course. They did have it for a really low price to start, and the price is starting to climb up on the course because it is popular. I don't know why. It wasn't me. Salt Strong did a really good job on that course, but basically on that course it illustrates for you with video on how I rig the bait specifically. But if I'm fishing in deep water and the bite's going well, I'm going to rig that live bait up underneath the chin and out the top of the nose. That way I can send that bait to bottom quickly. It's going to be able to swim down and not get drowned. And I'm going to be able to get it to bottom quickly to catch those fish. If the bite's not going so well, I like to tail hook that pinfish or put that hook above the anal fin of the fish. So that way when the lead's sitting on the bottom, that fish is able to swim around the lead, and that weight's going to hook down or weight down the back half of that fish, and that fish is going to be struggling up away from that weight, ringing the dinner bell. But when you hook the fish in the back side of the fish and it's weighted down like this, when it goes to bottom, that fish is going to be getting dragged down the opposite way it normally naturally swims, and it's going to spin. So you're going to get tangled and you're going to drown your bait. So when you hook it above the anal fin and the back half of the fish, you got to slow down the descent by putting more pressure on the spool with your thumb, and that takes more time to get to bottom. So when the bite's going well, when we're catching plenty of fish, or when the current's running strong, just hook it up underneath the chin and out the top of the face, or when you're drifting, always up under the chin, out the top of the nose. But if the bite's slow, if the current's not running strong, if you're anchor fishing, above the anal fin on the second half of the bait or back half of the bait is a great way to rig them. All right. Any other question? Dan Swanson said, when is Brad going to hook you up with some 425s for the Flying Hub 2? That is a good question, Dan. You should have tagged Brad in that comment, though. I wonder if he read that. That's pretty good, Dan. We're hoping to get some new, larger engines for the Flying Hub 2. We're definitely ready to invest, and we're very interested in the Yamaha 425s. Our pleasure cruise and ferry boat side of things is with Honda, but our fishing boat side of things is with Yamaha. We plan to stay with Yamaha, especially because they're doing so many great things for our fishery. And the pleasure boat side of things, we're using very small motors, and the Hondas do really well in the small motor side of things, but they don't have the large motors. Yamaha does a great job in the larger side of things. We've had a few bugs here and there, but Yamaha has done a really great job at working that out and fixing those bugs for us. And we're still ironing out a few of them, but it's going to be great. we have a lot of faith in Yamaha. They've been really good to us through the years. Any other questions? Nick Maddox said, "Hey Dylan, the red Hubbard's Marina long sleeve shirts. I've been wanting a couple every spring and fall. Haven't seen them. We have the. Are you talking about the employee red shirts, Nick? Because we don't sell those Hubbard's Marina crew shirts. We do have a ton of Hubbard's Marina long sleeve performance wear. We have Salinity, we have Relaxed, we have Sea Fear, we have Red Rum, we have Saltwater Hippie, we have Gills. We have a lot of really cool clothing brands that are all local to the state of Florida, and they all say Hubbard's Marina. They all name drop for us. So we have a bunch of product in the shop that says Hubbard's Marina, but we don't sell our crew shirts. Because you don't want to go out in the boat with a crew shirt on, trust me. Lisa Pickens Sheffield said, "Can you explain the overnight parking in the garage for the 39-hour trip?" We always do a seminar before you leave on the 39-hour. We always reiterate before the 39-hour leaves, and we talk about it again when the 39-hour comes back about the parking, but it's still, some people miss it. Because they're excited, they're going fishing, they don't hear it, or they're not in the area for those seminars. It's also in your confirmation email as well, pretty well spelled out. But if you miss all that, how a 39-hour parking works, or any extended trip, so our 12-hour night snapper, our 5-hour trophy shark trip, our 39-hour, our 44-hour, our 63-hour, any trip in which your return time is going to be when the parking garage is closed, you need to buy a parking voucher. It's very simple. All you do is tell the parking garage as you enter that you're parking for a trip with Hubbard's Marina. Say, for example, I'm parking on a Friday for a 39-hour trip. I pull in the garage and I say, "Hey, I'm going out with Hubbard's Marina on the 39-hour today." The parking garage would take it from there. They'd say, "Well, it's $10 because it's $5 per day to park in the garage when you're fishing with us at Hubbard's Marina." And they give you a little voucher. And that voucher nowadays is simply a sticker they put on your parking ticket. And when you leave the garage after your trip, you stick it in, and that sticker will open the gate automatically, and you're free to go. So it's really, really simple. You just got to tell the parking garage what you're doing, what trip you're parking for, and it'll work out. Or you park in the sand lot or metered spots if you don't fit in the garage, and you walk over to the entrance of the garage where the parking booth is. You tell the parking booth what trip you're going on and where you're going on it with, and they'll take care of everything, and they'll tell you what to do. We don't control parking, the garage does, and unfortunately they're not as nice as we are. So we work really hard to communicate what the garage tells us to communicate about parking. Again, it's in your confirmation email. We do cover it in your pre-boarding seminars, but it is easy to miss, and not a lot of people are thinking about parking when they're getting ready to go on a 39-hour. But whatever, we're always happy to help you. And Lee Murphy, I like how you commented on here. So I apologize, Lisa. I got distracted by Lee making jokes in the comments, but hopefully I answered your question there, and I look forward to seeing you guys again with some of that Hopkins meat